We have been having a problem on the coordination, and one of the functions of the CS is coordination of county government activities. There are so many resolutions that are passed in the assembly that are never implemented or reported back to the assembly. How will you handle that to ensure it never happens? Mr. Speaker, one of the functions is also him being the secretary to the cabinet, and part of it is disseminating decision of the executive committee. Mr. Speaker,
say they must capacity build. And I'm happy to report, Madam Chairman, that we have since, courtesy of the service board, had more staff. Now, as chair of CHIRAC, with respect to promotions, budgeting, and staff welfare, Mr. Chairman, this is my biggest challenge in that office, because if you consider delayed exchequer disbursements, then you consider our very minimal on-source revenue capacity. The capacity is huge. We are at 350,000 thereabouts, and the potential is 1.9 billion, but we receive very little for obvious reasons. As a result of that, the staff welfare is at its lowest. Delayed salaries, statutory reductions, we are several months behind, and we are unable to do promotions. We started, but we are only able to handle health. Even so, we haven't done completely because of the challenges of the resource entry. Now, the solution to all this, Mr. Chairman, is simply how we budget. We found a problem, this government found a problem whereby there was under-budgeting for personnel emoluments. When we did an audit, we actually found a hole of close to 1.2 billion. We are trying to, through multi-year budgeting, to fill that gap. Once we fill that gap and enhance our own source revenue collections through automation, then we should be able to have sufficient funds to fund promotions, to fund the continuous payment of salaries, and to bring up to date statutory payments. But I'm happy to report, Mr. Chairman, that the issue of the statutory reductions may not be a problem beyond July this year, because the national government has put in place a strategy whereby those will be deducted straight from the center, from the national government, and sent to the agencies. So we'll just be left to worry about the arrears, and we are addressing that through budgeting. We are happy in the supplementary, Mr. Chairman, the House was able to give us 196 million. We have factored another 354 in the 25-26 financial year, and we hope that when that comes, then we bridge the gap, the deficit that we have been having, and then we will bring everything. Thank you. Thank you very much. There is this one of the I, as you know, what chairman has practiced in law for 23 years before I came here. So I still receive income from my law firm, although I've taken a sabbatical. The ones who are running it pay me my share of the investment fluctuates depending on how the law firm operates. I also trade in partnership with my wife in supplies business. And that is what largely translates to that, Honorable Chairman.
So you don't have the ability, you don't have that.
Wanasema hata Amerika iko na deni, I have some liabilities. Some of them incurred since I joined the Good County government of Busia. But that's on my right note. The usual things of cooperative loans, my circle at the Law Society, probably 1.5 or so. My office, where I used to practice law, was taken on mortgage about 13 years ago. I think I have about 6 million to go on that mortgage. Those are the liabilities that I can recall for now. Thank you.
Thank you. There was an issue of whether the budget you are given would be sufficient to run the office.
The beauty or the advantage, when a chairman with this, is that we play a coordinating role, and some of the functions then that my office is expected to do can find funding from the department. So we are not hamstrung, but we work towards how better budgets for this office. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Edward.
Asante sana Bwana Spika, kwa majina naitwa Mheshimiwa Irene Ndugwa. Ningependa tu kuuliza Mr. Juma swali moja. Na kando kama sijauliza swali, nitaomba tu Bwana Juma, nimesikia umesema uko vizuri. Kama ni mali iko kidogo, lakini naona ni kama unachunga upande wa watoto. Ningeomba ukae chini na mwenzako mwachilie kidogo. Sababu kama mali ni nyingi na wakukula ni wachache, hiyo pesa ukikufa najua itaharibika. Ama ule mwenye ukitangulia mama mwenye atakuja nyuma, najua anakujanga alafu anakula mali yenye wajui imetoka wapi. Naomba uongezee kama wanene wafike manane. Niko na swali moja nitakuuliza upande ya how will you ensure that your office remains free from political interference?
I thought that answers the issue. He had already answered that question. Honorable Gadi.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I have 3 questions to ask. And my first question surrounds around the functions and the role of the county secretary.
And so the decision by Treasury to say there was funds was actually on the assumption that if a worker exits mid the financial year, the assumption that he has been budgeted for. Well, so there's money also there for to recruit or to do whatever it is. But when we discovered that there's a deficit, we had to stop the process of promotions. However, the good news is that sometime last year, around September, October, we paid all those officers a third of the amount that was initially about 94 million. A third of that we paid. Courtesy of your decision to give us 196 million recently in the supplementary, we have factored the second third of those payments in the payroll for May and June. It will be there. And then when you give us the 454 that I alluded to in the May 25-26 budget, we will be able to address that issue. So it is a hot potato on my desk, but we have a solution and all will be well. Now, your last question was to do with the issue around integrity and transparency. How will I ensure that happens? By just ensuring people follow the law. We have the Constitution with very many provisions, Chapter 5, Leadership and Integrity. We have the Act, the Leadership and Integrity Act, that we are required to follow. As my office, I will just need to ensure that staff follow that and that there are necessary sanctions where there is breach. But I want to agree with you, Mheshimiwa, that we have suffered a huge debt in terms of our indebtedness account, and therefore I'm alive to the fact that I need to do more if and when you allow me to do in that area. Automation, for example, would be a very good area to start because the reports I get is that corruption, pilferage of on-source revenue is because of manual systems in income generating streams. So that would be a very good start also as a measure towards just ensuring that that happens. Thank you.
Honorable Gadi.
Thank you, Nominee, for your response. I just want to have an addition on the issue number 2, on the issue that you officiated and officially handed over those promotion letters to the staff. And as a senior-most staff employee of this county government, the public, the budget documents after approval becomes a public document. And by virtue of your office, you are in a position to ask or to call any person to appear before your office so that they can explain beyond reasonable doubts. What would you say of yourself? Because from your submission is that you rely on the information from the CC or the Chief of Staff at Treasury, but you never had information, full information about the Treasury not having money to facilitate the promotion. What would you say of yourself? Our whole senior officer, we just walk up without prior information, without the nitty information on the budget. And you all understand that the budget is a very important document of this county. And you just walk up with
have the Busia County Public Service Board. We also have a CEC in charge of public management service with their respective chief officers. At some point last year, there was a tussle between the Department of Land, Department of Public Service Management, and the Public Service Board on who is supposed to recruit casual workers. So as the head of public service, how are you going to coordinate these departments to avoid conflict of interest as we witnessed sometime last year? Question 2, as the county secretary, you sit at the cabinet and you are the custodian of all the documents of the cabinet. Since inception of this government, we've had documents, for instance, budgets and even financial statements. Budgets giving targets in terms of consoles, revenues. You've slightly talked about it. But the respective financial reports have glaringly indicated that we have never ever achieved our on-source revenue targets. So as a member of the cabinet, and in terms of collective responsibility, what measures are you going to put in place to mitigate that gap in terms of on-source revenue? My last question, my colleague member had asked about it, but I'll be very specific. This county, we've had challenges in terms of salary delays, and it's really affecting employees of this county in terms of motivation. All of us agree that this has been occasioned by delays of disbursement from the exchequer. But if you look around this county, this country, there are some counties that pay their workers on time. And at some point, I remember during the inception of this assembly, the executive brought in a document that had an MOU between banks and the executive. But the executive side did not bring a signed MOU that would have enabled, whenever the county government of Busia falls short of funds, they can borrow from the banks. So when we requested as an assembly for the executive to bring that document, to date, I think it was the MOU, to date, they've never brought it, and that is one of the reasons why employees of this county get their salaries late. So as the coordinator of county activities, and as someone who sits at the cabinet, what are you going to do, or what measures are you going to put in place so that at least members of the public, employees of this county can see a change when you occupy that office? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Minority Leader. Now, we have engaged the